My name is Vorrk, and I have served the Galactic Unified Fleet for 32 cycles without a single moment of genuine surprise. Until her. Let me set the scene for you, because context matters, and I would hate for you to miss the full, magnificent absurdity of what happened aboard the warship Eternal Dominion on the day Recruit Mira Kastos walked through our docking bay doors and smiled at a Vrakthar like it owed her money. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with the Vrakthar species, allow me to educate you. A Vrakthar stands roughly 4 meters tall. It has 6 limbs, 3 of which end in claws that can puncture grade 7 hull plating. Its skin secretes a mild neurotoxin when it is agitated. It communicates primarily through subsonic vibrations that make smaller creatures experience involuntary bowel responses. The Vrakthar assigned to our unit, a scarred veteran named Grukkas, had reportedly caused a Tellurian diplomat to faint simply by breathing in his direction. Mira Kastos smiled at him. Not a nervous smile. Not the kind of smile a creature makes right before it makes a terrible life choice and realizes it too late. She smiled the way someone smiles when they see an old friend across a crowded room. Warm. Easy. Completely unbothered. Grukkas stared at her. We all stared at her. She extended her hand toward him, fingers spread in the human gesture of greeting, and said, with a voice steady as ship-grade steel, "You must be Grukkas. I read your file. 3rd-generation fleet soldier, 17 confirmed engagements, 0 casualties under your command. That is impressive. I am glad to be serving alongside you." Silence. The kind of silence that has weight to it. Grukkas made a sound like a volcanic eruption filtered through a drainage pipe, which is how Vrakthar laugh, and the entire docking bay shook slightly from the reverb. Then he took her hand and shook it. I turned to Lieutenant Fax, who stood beside me with his secondary eyes blinking rapidly, which is the Drellian equivalent of complete mental shutdown, and I said, "Did that just happen?" Fax said, "I refuse to believe it happened." But it happened. Oh, it very much happened. The thing you must understand about the Galactic Unified Fleet is that humans were a late addition to our coalition. Very late. We had spent centuries building an interstellar military structure while humans were, by their own enthusiastic admission, still arguing about which landmass on their planet deserved the most political attention. When they finally joined, the general feeling among the senior officers was polite tolerance at best, and barely concealed mockery at worst. Humans were small. Soft. Fragile. Their biology was, frankly, offensive to look at. No natural armor. No venom glands. No enhanced sensory organs. They had 2 eyes, which is barely enough to function. They slept for 8 full hours every single cycle, which every species in the fleet found philosophically troubling. They required specific temperature ranges to remain comfortable, drank a liquid called coffee with the desperation of someone defusing a bomb, and had a baffling habit of naming inanimate objects. Mira Kastos had named her sidearm. She called it Rennie. When Corporal Dix of the Sullivan unit asked her why, she looked at him with complete sincerity and said, "Because Rennie has never let me down." Dix did not know how to process this information. He stood there for a long moment, opened his mouth, closed it, and walked away. I watched all of this from my position as unit coordinator, which is a fancy title that means I write reports about things that happen and try to explain them to command without sounding like I am losing my grip on reality. My reports from that first week were, I will admit, difficult to write professionally. Day 1. Human recruit arrived. Greeted Vrakthar with handshake. Vrakthar did not destroy her. Reason unclear. Day 2. Human recruit completed the Durlian obstacle course in a time that placed her 4th in unit rankings. She was singing while doing it. The song appeared to have no tactical function whatsoever. I have attached a recording. Command is advised to listen at reduced volume. Day 3. Human recruit sat with Grukkas during the evening rest period and showed him something on her personal device called, quote, funny animal videos. Grukkas watched for 47 minutes. He showed no signs of leaving. Day 4. 3 Sylvan soldiers attempted to haze the human recruit by placing a fear emission device under her bunk. The device is calibrated to trigger primal terror responses in most species. She woke up, looked at it, said, "Huh, cute," and went back to sleep. I do not have an explanation for Day 4. What I do have is the recording from Day 7, which is when everything changed, and when I finally understood that we had not recruited a human soldier. We had recruited something else entirely. Something that the universe had not quite prepared us for. And it was only getting started. Day 7 began like most days aboard the Eternal Dominion. Loudly, and with someone already making a terrible decision. The unit had been deployed to the Korrivan sector, a stretch of dead space that smelled, inexplicably, like burned copper and regret. Command had received intelligence that a Vreth raiding party was moving through the sector, targeting supply lines. The Vreth are not pleasant creatures. They are fast, relentless, and they operate in packs with a coordination that makes most fleet commanders age prematurely just thinking about it. They do not negotiate. They do not retreat. They simply keep coming until either they win or there is nothing left to fight over. Command sent our unit to stop them. Because apparently, Command had a sense of humor. We moved through the corridor of Outpost Tel 9 in full tactical formation, weapons ready, sensors live. Fax was at my left. Grukkas anchored the rear. Mira Kastos was positioned third in line, right behind squad leader Borryn, a Vreth soldier built like a walking siege weapon with the personality of a disappointed grandfather. Borryn did not like humans. He had made this known repeatedly, loudly, and without any particular concern for whether Mira was in earshot. He called her the soft one. He assigned her the least critical positions during drills. He spoke over her during briefings with the casual authority of someone who had already decided the outcome of every conversation before it started. Mira never argued with him. She just did the work. She did the work better than anyone else in the unit, quietly, consistently, without complaint, and this appeared to irritate Borryn far more than any argument could have. So when the Vreth ambush hit us from 3 directions simultaneously, and Borryn took a disruptor blast to the shoulder that spun him into the wall and dropped him to one knee, the command structure of our unit collapsed in approximately 4 seconds. 4 seconds is a very short time. Unless you are Mira Kastos. She moved before the echo of the first shot had finished bouncing off the corridor walls. Her voice cut through the noise like a blade through thin plating, sharp, certain, with zero room for interpretation. Grukkas, seal the east corridor, use your body if you have to, nothing gets past you. Fax, suppression fire on the upper ridge, do not stop, do not aim for kills, just keep their heads down. Dix, pull Borryn back to the junction, keep low, keep moving. Everyone else, follow my lead and do not hesitate. Nobody questioned her. I want you to understand that. Nobody questioned her. Not even Grukkas, who outranked her by 3 full grades, whose species had a deeply held cultural tradition of ignoring orders from anyone smaller than a transport vehicle. He looked at her for exactly 1 second, then turned and sealed the east corridor with his body like she had asked, like it was the most natural thing in the world, like he had been waiting for someone to finally give him a direction worth moving in. I moved. We all moved. What followed was 4 minutes and 31 seconds of the most controlled, precise, terrifying combat I have ever witnessed in 32 cycles of fleet service. Mira did not fight like our training manual suggested. She fought like something that had crawled out of a planet that spent 4 billion years trying to kill everything living on it and had ultimately failed. She used the environment the way a sculptor uses raw material, turning every wall, every shadow, every unfortunate Vreth decision into an advantage so quickly that by the time the enemy realized what was happening, it was already over. She took a hit to her left side, mid-engagement. I saw it. A partial blast, not full contact, but enough to leave scoring on her armor and enough to make any Drellian soldier instinctively withdraw. She did not withdraw. She used the momentum of the impact to pivot, put herself behind cover, reassessed in under 2 seconds, and kept moving. When the last Vreth went down and the corridor went quiet, our unit stood in the wreckage of the ambush, breathing hard, all of us intact, none of us dead. Borryn was back on his feet. He looked at Mira for a long time. Then he said, with the heavy slowness of someone dismantling a belief they had held for a very long time, "Where did you learn to do that?" Mira checked Rennie, confirmed the charge, holstered her sidearm, and looked at him with that same warm, unbothered expression she had worn since the first day she walked through our docking bay doors. "Earth," she said simply. "We have been figuring out how to survive things that want to kill us for a very long time. Longer than most species have been watching the stars." Borryn had nothing to say to that. None of us did. I filed my Day 7 report that evening. It was the longest report I had ever written, and also the simplest to summarize. We laughed at the human recruit. Right up until the moment she saved every single one of us. I do not think any of us will be laughing again. Friends, if you are enjoying our videos and want to watch new and exciting sci-fi and HFY stories every day, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to turn on the bell icon so you never miss any of our latest uploads. Like the video and share it with your friends as well, so our community can continue to grow and bring you even more amazing content.